This is a little brief explanation on the Backrooms. Specifically the Backrooms in the lore created by Kane Parsons. In the Kane Parsons lore, the Backrooms, also known as the Complex, is being researched by a company called Async. They make expeditions into the Complex to learn more about how it works and behaves. However, they are not alone, as there are many entities that roam the Complex. One of these entities, which didn't appear in the movie but did appear in one of Kane's videos, is called the Life Form, and is this giant black spindly mass that takes on a vaguely humanoid form. It's aggressive and also has the ability to mimic human voices, as heard in the video Pitfalls, where it mimics a person screaming for help to lure its victim in. The entities we see in the movie were first seen in found footage number 3. They're called still lifes. And a still life is when the Complex misremembers a person. You see, every single room in the Backrooms is basically just a misremembered version of a real-life place. Clark actually explains this to his therapist Mary, and we can hear this in the trailer for the movie. He says, "This place builds them, but it's more like it remembers them. And the more times it remembers something, the less it does." So with every iteration of the Complex remembering a real place, it gets more and more distorted, up until it eventually ends up looking like the same yellow hallways that you've probably seen before. And it's not just places that can be misremembered, but animals and people as well. In this case, when a Backrooms misremembers a person, the result is an entity called a still life. The ones that we see Clark sitting with at a dinner table, they don't feel pain, they don't really react to much at all. They are also filled with what seems to be furniture stuffing. Also, they're edible, I forgot to mention that. The only exception we see in the movie is the still life of Clark himself. There's actually a ton of symbolism in the still life of Clark, which I'm gonna call the Captain Clark. So Captain Clark is way taller and bigger, which is a symbolic representation of Clark's massive ego. He's also meant to be the manifestation of all of Clark's negative traits, such as him being an alcoholic, etc., etc. This is why the Pirate Clark entity walks so drunkenly. It's also probably just because he has a peg leg, but who knows. Anyways, the things that make the Pirate Clark entity special is that, unlike the other still lifes, he not only exhibits emotions, but he also seems to be sapient, and he also bleeds, meaning he's flesh and blood. And that's very unique. And it seems Clark has been aware of this, as when he senses that the pirate entity is getting angry at him, he says, No, you don't have to worry." And then eventually the pirate entity devours Clark, representing him being consumed by his own negative traits. But basically, what you need to know is the Complex misremembers real-life places and people. When it misremembers a person, the result is a still life. Something else I'd like to mention that is pretty interesting is that at the dinner table scene, we can also see a still life of Clark's wife, Barbara. And both the still life of Clark and the still life of Barbara sort of reenact the real relationship between Clark and Barbara. You can see that the fake Barbara actually starts running away in fear when she hears Clark coming in. This could be the Backrooms remembering his own wife's reaction in real life to when he would come home drunken and angry. And her having red hair could probably be symbolizing that he hit her over the head with a bottle, and the red is from, well, you know, blood.